For the last 2 years or so, a few of us have been talking and praying about how our WELS congregations might reach out to the large immigrant population in Atlanta. We recently had a meeting about it, so I've put together this brief video for those who weren't able to attend the meeting in person but have asked for some updates. So, our WELS churches are very well placed to serve the city of Atlanta. We currently have 6 churches that go around the perimeter of Atlanta, and now In Town Lutheran planted right there in the center of the city. That helps serve our existing congregations well, but that actually gives us a lot of strength for serving the immigrant community too. Where we've focused in so far is that green locator icon. That marks the city of Clarkston. Clarkston is often called the most diverse square mile in all of America because it's one of the chief landing spots for new immigrants. Now, when they arrive, many of them stay there for about 2 years on average. When they do relocate, a large majority of them stay right in the greater Atlanta area where, again, we have so many churches. Almost every major people group from around the world is represented there in Clarkston. So many of them, too, are coming from nations that we as a church body are not able to reach out and start missions in because of legal issues or safety issues. But by God's grace, world missions are now coming right here to us in Atlanta. We see great potential to both serve people in Christian love and, as the Lord wills, to connect them to the gospel and to some of our churches. So we had our first larger meeting with a greater group of people on May 5th. About 25 people from 3 different WELS churches got together to talk through the possibilities. It was a mix of pastors and lay people, young and adults, immigrants from at least 4 different countries, and lifelong Americans. There were people there with experience working with refugees and immigrant groups, and people who just wanted to see how they could support the work. We talked about an approach that started especially with community health issues. And that means spending time working in the local community to find out what needs the immigrant population has and how we might serve them, as well as build relationships and bridges so that we can share the gospel with them. Well, we all agreed that if all we get to do is to show them Christian love, that in and of itself is a wonderful thing. But we spent some time dreaming too about the Lord building up this worshiping group of immigrants and Americans side by side, another strong Atlanta WELS church that's there to share the gospel with people. This is new work for many of us, but a group called the Maris Center has given us a proposal for working together. The Maris Center is a community health center that operates out of our Wisconsin Lutheran College up in Milwaukee. They walk groups like ours through the process of getting to know a community and learning how to serve their needs. They worked up a detailed 3-phase plan to guide us through the work. It's our prayer that we could begin phase 1 this fall. I won't go into depth on all of the different phases of that work, but you can pause the screen if you want and read through to get a sense of it, or reach out for a copy of the proposal to learn more about how they'll take this effort from our prayers to just a real, impactful, sustainable effort in Atlanta. Something we all recognized is that this work just can't be driven by our Atlanta area pastors. I mean, our area pastors have full-time ministries, and if any of us pastors were going to try to take on and own this effort, it just would not get the attention it needs. This is the kind of effort that just needs to be driven by local members who have a passion for work like this. So at the meeting, we shared a sign-up sheet with 3 levels of participation. Level 1 is taking a leadership role. You don't need deep experience, just a willingness to learn. This would include some meetings with people from the Maris Center. Most of those meetings would take place over Zoom. I think they'd come down here for a few of them to help give some shape to this work and to help recruit others to be part of this as well. Level 2 volunteers would help execute some of the groundwork. So as we begin reaching out in Clarkston, we need a larger group of people that are willing to get to know a few people there, to do community surveys and ask some questions of the people who are living down there. And if you just want to stay informed about the work and maybe volunteer a bit later down the road, that's level 3. Just send us your information and we'll add you to our email lists. We've got about 20 volunteers so far, and that's including the wonderful start of a core group of leaders, which is just a gift from God to have that from the very get-go. I'm prayerful that we could end up with at least one leader from each of our area WELS churches in Atlanta, so that all of our churches could have some ownership of this and they could all be represented and connected and stay informed. If you're interested in taking part in some way, just email Pastor Joel Seifert or Pastor Lucas Bitter. You'll see their information there on the screen with your interest or with your questions. Until then, keep this work in your prayers, and God bless.